What's going on, guys? You like the messy hair? This is why normally Matt has a hat on. See, you don't have to worry about being presentable when you just put a hat on. Obviously, this is all still, but I can't put a hat on my beard, so this is what we got. So, oh, I got something on my computer. Computer. It smells like food. So what's going on, guys? My name's Matt, and I like to record videos and post them on YouTube. And today is Sunday, which the cool thing about Sunday is it's Super Bowl Sunday. And if you don't care about football, then I'm sorry, because then today's just a normal Sunday for you. But, oh, this is the first time an Ohio team has made it to the Super Bowl in like 30 fucking years, or maybe ever. I don't really remember. I don't really pay that much attention. All I know is the Cleveland Browns didn't make it, and that makes me very sad. But the Cincinnati Bengals made it, and that's the other Ohio team. The other thing that's really funny, if you think about it, there are states out here in the United States that don't even have a football team, right? Their entire state doesn't have a football team. And then you turn around and you have states that have two football teams, like Ohio, where we have the Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the even funnier part about that is the Browns suck and the Cincinnati Bengals suck. So here we are, a state that has two football teams and both of them suck. Now, you could also argue that they don't suck, being as they are in the Super Bowl, and that would be true. The Cincinnati Bengals have improved this year, but they were, you know, I'm pretty sure Cincinnati Bengals were 0-16 last year, so that means they never won a single game, or if they did, it was maybe just a few. And now somehow they're in the Super Bowl this year, so very strange. Naturally, being an Ohio person, I'm going to be rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals, um, but you know, should be hopefully a good game all the same. Actually, the other thing is I watch a popular YouTube gaming channel called Achievement Hunter, and they uh, they actually every single year they do a I don't know what you want to call it, like they play the Super Bowl in Madden, like they actually play the game, and they always obviously split the group up so there's half on the one team and half on the other. And it always works out perfectly because when they play, whoever wins their game always happens to be the loser of every year that they ever play, that like the real game. So when they were playing the the Cincinnati Bengals won, and that makes me sad because then if that's really how things work out, then that would mean that the Cincinnati Bengals won't win the Super Bowl. But like I said, all the same, regardless, I'm just happy an Ohio team has finally made it to the Super Bowl. I'm uh, I'm actually going to be writing out some things for goals of mine for 2020, summer of 2022, because I've got a lot of things in my head, been running around and things I've been thinking about a lot, and I was like, I need to write them down because there's obviously going to be things I'm thinking of that I want to do that I'm probably never going to get to, and there are obviously other things I want to do that I want to actually be able to get to. So I'm going to write the list and kind of set that all up. But I also want to just quickly say that um, I'm going to be starting a different kind of series for this channel. Not sure how everybody's going to enjoy it or whatnot, but practically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching YouTube content on like together. So I'll be recording the video and putting my face over it at some point, but it's because YouTube, like, it'll be easier to explain in the actual video, but there are some content on YouTube. There are TV shows, there are movies that YouTubers have put their time and effort into making, but they aren't, they're not like video movie quality. They weren't in theaters, they weren't on Netflix, they weren't on Hulu. They were just released to YouTube. And so a lot of people don't actually ever get to see this stuff. And this is actually the stuff I used to do when I was younger. I used to watch a lot of TV shows that were made on YouTube. And um, uh, because of the way everything works, if you put your stuff out onto YouTube, you're practically saying that, like, you don't own it. You got people coming in. Hopefully they'll need a room, but it's practically, you'll see that when we get into it. But here in the next few days here, you might see a let's watch video or something come up along the lines of watching with me or something like that. And that will just pretty much be that. I will still be talking, I'll still be adding my feedback and commentary over top of stuff, but it's just the mere fact that I'm gonna watch something and we'll watch it together. Um, like I said, maybe else will find that interesting enough to want to watch it with me. If not, then it'll just sit on the internet forever. But anyways, now let me pause this and go see where this car disappeared to before I actually try to write this list. Nope, they just went up the elevator, and actually, it's lightly snowing out there, so now my car has a very light dusting of snow on it, which don't really fucking care about. It's when it snows a lot that I care. But it's still the annoyance of yesterday, or day before yesterday, Ohio was 43 degrees out, and then yesterday was 30 something. Actually, yesterday started off at 32, and I'm pretty sure it ended when the sun went down. It was only like 19 degrees or something, so still cold. And Ohio is just a massive tease, it's like it starts to get a little warm, and you're like, oh, and then it's right back to the snow and the cold. February and March are always snowy, cold months for us, so you can never really truly get too excited in these early months of being like, oh, it seems like it's getting warmer, because it's not. Trust me, it's still gonna snow its ass off, but at least we know that we're on the upward and outward, because, like, the beginning of the year is literally when we get, like, December and January are normally when we get the majority of our snow. But because of, global warming and all that other shit, nowadays we get our most of our snow in February and March. But April is that month where it's like, 50-50, it starts getting kind of warming up a little bit. It's like fall, but it's spring, obviously. Everything's growing instead of dying. But the temperatures are the same. It's a little bit chilly, but it's a little bit warm. You get all excited. You can start just wearing sweatshirts, and then next thing you know, you have a fucking foot of snow sitting outside, which is the annoying part, because obviously, like I said, you get excited and you go, "Oh, it's sweatshirt weather! I can wear just a sweatshirt outside." What? And then, like I said, next thing you know, you're back to wearing the full-fledged everything because there's a foot of snow laying on the ground. So that's the teasing part of Ohio, but still means we only have a few more months of this horrible shit left, and then summer's gonna be here. It's actually also funny. I really want to say this one quickly too. Is like, you know, when you're young, you don't really think about it, and it's not until you grow up that you really start thinking about, time going fast. But it feels like winter just started, and now it feels like it's already coming to an end, which is like good because I don't like winter, so it sounds great. But that means summer's gonna be here, and that's awesome because everybody loves summer, but it is also not awesome because summer in Ohio goes by way too fast. We only realistically have like 3 months where it's actually warm and like really nice, and then spring and fall you have like, you know 70s, 60s, 70s, which is nice still nonetheless. It's just not as nice as, others, and so it's just one of those things where time goes by really fast, and then you wish winter to be over, but then you realize the faster winter's over, the faster summer comes. Faster summer comes, the faster summer goes away, which means the faster that fall and winter come back around again, and it means another year goes by, and now I'm older. So I really don't want seasons to fly by because I realize the faster the seasons fly by, the faster the year flies by, which means I just keep getting older and older and realize that life's flying by, and I feel like I'm hardly getting anything done that I actually want to in life. But here we are, 31 years old, living up the high life. Now here we go. To put in my goals here. So I have a few top of my head that are like definitely ones I want to try for. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write summer 2022 goal list. Put a big old line up underneath that. Keep you guys up with this so you can see summer 2022 goal list. Right? Now there's obviously gonna I was gonna try to think of how to separate all these things, but in reality, I think we just make columns, and then I might possibly write everything down that I'd like to try to achieve this summer in one column, and then maybe the next column start to organize it as to what I feel like is more important than another, and what order I'd probably like. Not that I need to do them in order, but there's obviously going to be ones that are going to be easier and maybe more likely to get done before other ones. So just practically ordering them in a list, and then then maybe keep a third column free, and then in the end of the summer or something, maybe I can pull this out and review my goal list and see what made it from the actual once to the moving forward stage of actually trying to attempt it. Um, so I will just kind of separate and see the number one thing that it's really steep on my mind all the time is the fact that I want to learn how to weld. Now, I already know how to weld. When I worked in my plastic company, I had to weld every single day, like metal weld, and I welded like constantly, and I was pretty good at it by the time I left. But it's the fact of naturally I want to be like taught by a school. I want to have some form of certification that people can look at and say, hey, this guy is like trusted to be a good welder, and not just some average Joe off the street that learned it. Mainly because there are jobs in my future, possibly, that I would want to possibly look into maybe doing, and you would need to actually have like a welding certificate of some kind from somewhere saying this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. You couldn't just walk off the street and get these welding jobs. Um, so I've been talking about it a lot with friends, families, stuff like that. But practically number one star is welding school. I want to go to welding school. Number two, or again, these as I'm saying them, ones, twos, threes, fours, whatever. At this point, they're not in order. I'm just labeling them at this point of things I've thought of. So number two is uh, I finally want to learn how to ride a motorcycle this summer. Again, that's one of those things where I can ride a dirt bike. I already know how to ride. So it's not the fact that I can't ride. I've never ridden a motorcycle like, you know, like a big motorcycle on the road. And naturally, I want to get my motorcycle license. Oh, slash license. I spelled license so wrong, and I'm alright with it. Um, so that's what we got so far, just to keep everybody up to date here. My horrible misspelling of license over here. But yeah, welding, I keep pointing at the wrong side. Welding school, learn motorcycle slash license. Third idea I've been thinking an awful lot about, which really, really want to make a move on this soon, is start drag racing. And now with that one, we are not talking on the road illegally. I'm talking like going to drag strips, building a car, actually having a dragster. Because I've always wanted one. I spent the last 2 years now watching Cletus McFarland drag race, and it just these are my people. I said this in another video where I obviously titled the video "Drag Racing is my spirit animal," and that's literally what I feel like. I fit in with these people. I've never even met them. My When I was a kid, my dad and his best friend owned a drag racer that they built together, and so I was going to drag racing like a lot. Like every weekend, practically, we were going somewhere different in Ohio to go to a drag strip or out of state or wherever to do, drag racing. And I mean, I loved it. I loved the people. I love watching the cars. I mean, it's awesome. So obviously, I'm not expecting to be, top notch, fastest dude in the world by the end of this year. But the idea is, I feel like I want to buy a car, a cheap car, and it doesn't have to be built. It doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. Literally, it just needs to be a car. Depending on what car it is and what I want to do with it, depends on whether or not I need it just to be a shell of a car or if I need it to be a car with a motor. But regardless, if it was a car with a motor, it would be nice to even have it, because if it would just run, then I'd just drive it to the drag strip on an open night one night, drag race it a couple times, see what the fastest time I can get it stock as, and then start building the car from there. I feel like that'd be pretty cool to watch that evolutionary roll up of, like, obviously most of the stuff I would be recording myself doing anyways, but so you will see the journeys of half of this stuff, but it's still that idea of like I really want to start drag racing, and honestly it's up there with welding school, as in like it's one of the top things I want to do this summer. Um, and if I can get this other car that I'm hoping to be getting soon, hopefully, if I can get it, then I might turn my truck that I have now, into my drag racer, which I know it's a truck, so it seems a little strange. It's a Ford Explorer, so it's a big old body truck, but things faster and fuck. It's already got a motor, it's already got a transmission, rear end, everything's built in it in the sense of it's stock, but I could spend, you know, some time and effort and actually make it better and faster if I wanted to. But again, I'm not 100% sure. Worst case scenario is if I don't keep the truck, I'm keeping the rear end and the motor and tranny out of my truck, because it's a 4.6 liter V8, and it's not that it's a big block or anything. It's a small block Ford motor, but it's the fact that it's a very, very good motor. And actually, the rear end I have in my truck and the motor that's in my truck are very sought after, in the sense of the years that they were used. People still go out to buy, or like to go out and get them and put them onto, like older stuff or newer stuff, because both the engine, platform, and the rear end are both, like I said, highly sought after. So people like them, and so I keep them regardless. So even worst case scenarios, I could sell them and probably make a little bit of change to put into something if I needed to, or best case scenarios, I'd have it to put into something if I say got a shell of a car, but I got, like, say I got found like an old Ford Mustang that was, had no motor in it. I could put the 4.6 in it, and, put the little baby V8 in it. And I tell you what, if it still ran good when I removed it, and then I put it into a smaller car, that motor would be hella fun in a car, because it's fun in that truck. It's got a lot of speed, a lot of power, um, but it's just the fact of it's pulling like 4,000 pounds, and if you put it into a car that weighs 2,000 pounds, I promise you that motor will go a lot faster, and it would be a lot more fun. Probably blow it up, because it's so much high mileage, and it would have such less weight. It would probably be able to go really fucking fast. This one's a little odd in the sense of compared to everything else we were talking about, but um, practically, I need to figure out what I want to do with my job. Uh, just because, hold on, figure out job. Because here's the thing, I work this job 3 days a week, and lately I've been picking up a fourth day every few weeks here, because of the fact that the woman who works 4 days a week here, um, is getting closer to retirement, so she's taking more and more days off as time goes on, and so I'm able to pick those days up, which is nice. But The thing I don't like is the fact that I'm stuck on 3 days and it's not that much money, and I really hate the idea that everybody else out there is living normal lives where they work 5 days a week and then they have 2 days off, and I'm working 3 days a week and hardly having money and hardly ever able to actually get up and go out and do anything because I don't have the money for it. Um, Now, for a little while there, I was trying to find a second job that I could work for 2 days a week or whatever, but it's very hard to find a job that will only take you for 2 days, um, without going to somewhere again like retail or fast food or gas station or something like that. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash on anybody that does those jobs. It's just I don't want that job. I've never have. If I absolutely have to, I would, but I have options as of now, so I'm trying my hardest to stay away from that stuff. So I have 2 days available, and like I said, I'd have to find someone or somewhere that would acceptingly take me to work those 2 days. Um, the other problem is like I said, since she's taking more days off, she's been giving them to me, so it's hard to go out and get a job that I have to work only 2 days a week and then tell them, oh, sorry, but now this week I can only work one day because now my other job wants me. Um, and on top of that, when it comes down to it, when she retires, I would prefer to take her hours and work 4 days a week and not over the weekend. Um, because like literally I'd take five if they would give me five, but I'm assuming since they have everybody here on part time that they're not going to put anybody on full time. So if they would at least give me 4 days, I'd be tickled. Um, Everybody likes it that I work the weekends, and they enjoy that I'm the weekend guy because I can deal with everybody good and stuff like that. But it's like I'm we're going on a year and a half now that I've sacrificed my weekends, and I'm very sick and tired of working when everybody else gets to have fun, and then when everybody else is at work, I'm having fun, even though it's not fun when you're alone. So uh, definitely want to get into figuring out what it is I'm going to be doing. Am I going to stay here working 3 days until she finally fucking decides to retire so that I can take over her days and have more hours and work better days, like the weekdays instead of the weekends? Or, you know, is there an inevitability that I don't work here by the end of this summer? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to lose this job. I like this job. It's very easy and allows me to do stuff I want to do. But at the same time, it's like, if the trade off is, hey, you get to spend 4 hours of your shift doing anything that you want to, but you make less money, or hey, you get to make more money, but for 8 hours straight you bust your ass. I just bust my ass for 8 hours because I'd much rather have more money than have 4 hours of my day that I'm allowed to YouTube or whatever. So it really comes down to, I just need to figure out what it is that I'm going to do with either this job, a different job in the future. Like I said, if I go to welding school, that's gonna put me in a different position. I'll be able to get a better job, and fortunately, if I have a fortunately will have a car by then that will be able to allow me to drive farther distances. I might be able to get a job that's 30 minutes north of here, which would suck. I'd hate to have to drive north, because traffic gets really bad the more and more north you get. But it's the fact of, if I'm commuting that far, I'm sure they're going to pay me good money for it. And being licensed welder like that, I'd be able to do a lot more and make a lot more money. And best case scenario is welding school could also possibly get me a job that doesn't require me to live in Ohio anymore, which would be over the moon excitement, to get to move to another state and be a welder doing something. Uh, I'd like to get into ships or trains, one of those two things. So either working on ships or working on trains. So not sure where that would take me or where I would go with it, but that's kind of my general idea. And this video is only already 24 minutes long, and I honestly can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Um, there are definitely things that I have been thinking about recently, more recently, about wanting to possibly get into or trying or learning and stuff like that. It's just my brain. I've thought about these last four now for the last 25 minutes, so my brain is kind of scrambled and I can't really think off the top of my head 100%. So like at this point, I'll probably just put some form of dotted line going across, and that's just practically to tell me like, hey, look, this list is obviously going to continue, but I just clearly don't have it in my head at the moment what it is that I'm going to put down, so we just put this dotted line here. After we finish up this, once I think about some more things, I'll fill them out in the list below, and, probably, obviously not on camera, and then we will go over it, and then we'll do the second column thing that I was talking about earlier, and then third column thing as time goes on. But just figured that way we get a little bit of start, and it's always good to summarize your goals. If you have a goals and you have things you want to do, if you leave them in your head, you just think about them a lot. That's all it is. It's just constant thinking, constant, you know, putting them into the special spot. But just that special spot you put them in as, oh, I want to be a drag racer this year. I want to do it so bad. It's all I want to do. I want to be able to do drag racing. But then if I don't actually write it down, I don't tell people about it, I don't actually make any form of actual, hey, here's my goal list of this is what I want to do. Eventually that little special spot will fade away because something else will fade in, and you'll be like, oh, instead of that I want to do this instead, and so on and so forth. So this is one of those things where it's very nice to make a list and to kind of summarize, like, hey, this is what we want, this is what we're going to shoot for. And I don't know, who knows, maybe we can complete them all in 1 year. That was, wait a minute. It's not saying it's saving them, so I'm really hoping it is. But those funny faces I was making are for the thumbnail of the video. So now you guys actually saw the thumbnail be made live. Wow, how amazing! But funny enough, it is time for me to have to go. I got to run night audit here at 3, and it is 2:55. So I'm going to cut this one short, even though we're at 27 minutes. Not particularly short. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you were along with me for the ride. If you were, I'd much appreciate a like. If you're new to the channel, you should subscribe by clicking on this icon up here, this circle of my face that's right over here. This will allow you to subscribe to my channel. If you want to watch the other videos from 2022, you can click on the playlist that's at the top over here. And if you want to watch drag racing is my spirit animal, click on this link down here. It will take you to the video of me talking about how I want to be a drag racer and how I love watching drag racing. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.